My name is Brennan Waldrop, and this is my contemporary business leader presentation that I'm giving on my Management 420 class. So the leader I chose was Amy Waldrop. Her role is she's a manager in the respiratory therapist department at Tri-City Medical Center, and the industry is healthcare because that is a hospital. And I asked her how long she had been there for, and she said she spent between 3.5 and 4 years in that leadership role. So I put 3.5 years. The reason why I chose her is because she's my mom primarily and just easy to interview, but she also has a lot of accomplishments in the healthcare industry that I will go over. One of Amy Waldrop's greatest career achievements was creating a navigator program specifically for COPD patients at Tri-City Medical Center. This program helped patients who were struggling with breathing problems, especially those caused by smoking. She not only led the development of this program, but she also worked with the Patient Experience Committee to ensure that everyone was satisfied and when they left the hospital, they wouldn't have to return to the hospital. So she lowered readmission rates, which saved the hospital a lot of money. And that's led to that saved more money for budget and employees. So Amy's approach showed strong management principles like strategic planning, stakeholder engagement, and process improvement. She recognized the problem in patient outcomes and responded by using thoughtful and patient-centered strategies that benefited both patients and the hospital system. And this was impactful not only because it improved care, but because it made long-term improvements to the department's performance and cost effectiveness. In the chart I filled out, Amy got a 40 out of 50, which makes sense, and she scored very high in sections like empathy, healing, stewardship, and commitment to the growth of people. She also scored high in building community, which definitely makes sense considering she had focus on both patients and staff. She scored a little lower in persuasion, and when I asked her about the persuasion and how she used it, she said she really didn't need to use it because the staff trusted her and she didn't need to use much persuasion. One of the biggest challenges Amy faced as a leader was when the union was voted into department. This forced a major restructuring of job roles, which created tension between staff and management. Many employees were worried about losing their jobs and their positions, and Amy had to make sure that everyone was reassigned into roles that fit within the new structure. And instead of just laying some people off because it was easy, like some people might have, she worked hard to give the current employees new opportunities and made sure those roles were all secured before publicly announcing their roles. So this helped reduce confusion and conflict while also keeping people employed and valued. Amy's response to this showed strong management skills in terms of organizing staff and following process and reducing turnover. I also think this shows great leadership qualities because she handled the situation with empathy and fairness and made a tough situation a lot easier for her and all the staff. In the chart I filled out for Amy on this part, she got a 38 out of 50, similar with her high ratings in empathy, listening, awareness, which are all traits that she definitely showed during this union restructuring. She had to listen to concerns and be transparent with her staff and show emotional intelligence. She also showed strong commitment to the growth of her people by helping them transition smoothly into new roles. And she didn't score high in persuasion again and then building community, but she still demonstrated lots of core values and scored high on this leadership reflection. When Amy was dealing with the challenge of the union entering her department, I believe she mostly used expert power and referent power to handle the situation. Expert power came from her knowledge of the hospital system's leadership and staff needs. Her background and experience gave her credibility, and the staff trusted her and that she knew what she was doing. The trust made it easier for her to make changes like reassigning job roles without facing constant resistance and force from the staff. She also used referent power by staying approachable and showing that she genuinely cared about her employees and they cared that she cared about them. And she communicated with her team in a way that earned respect. And Amy didn't rely on coercive power or force anyone into decisions. Instead, she built rapport by involving people in the transition process and making sure that everyone had a role before positions were officially made public. And this behavior helped keep the team stable and avoid unnecessary panic and division within the staff. So the mission statement for Tri-City Medical Center is to promote health and wellness in the community, and the vision statement is to be ranked in the top 10% of hospitals nationwide. When I asked Amy if she liked the mission and the vision, she specifically talked about the vision and said that she thought being top 10% nationwide was definitely very wishful thinking, but she liked that this was the vision because she thinks that if you don't set high goals and you don't have ambitions that are maybe almost impossible, then you'll never know what you'll be able to achieve if you just set goals that are too small and easy to achieve. So Amy liked this vision and she liked the mission and helped Tri-City achieve this mission. And she did so through strategy, which was communicating wellness programs, and she centered around delivering excellent care and building community-based wellness programs, such as the one Amy led for COPD patients. When it came to possessing an entrepreneurial mindset, Amy didn't strongly identify with that because she said that she didn't really need it because she worked in a small community hospital where the highest priority wasn't necessarily innovation, but it was rather just serving a low-income population. So she had limited resources, so she just had to work with what she had and creating those initiatives. She didn't really have time to be super innovative, and she didn't really have the resources provided from this hospital to have much of an entrepreneurial mindset. The leadership theory that best describes Amy's approach is, in my opinion, Spalding's model of servant leadership. This theory emphasizes key values like humility, vision, trust, and a strong focus on serving others. Based on everything Amy shared in our interview, it's clear that these values are a big part of how she leads her team and supports her patients. Her decisions are often based off what's best for the community and the people that she works with, rather than doing her decisions are based off of what's best for the community, and she takes everyone's best interests into account rather than just doing what she feels is best. And we can see this through her work with COPD patients. She took the initiative to design a patient care navigator program and create at-home care plans. So these actions showed her desire to improve outcomes for others and meet their needs even after they've left the hospital. She also displayed servant leadership when handling the union restructuring challenge. Instead of making fast or harsh decisions, she took a thoughtful approach that prioritized fairness, transparency, and keeping her staff supported. Amy builds trust by being consistent, empathetic, and honest with her team, and she doesn't lead with authority or pressure, but instead she leads by example, and her staff seems to respect her so much for that. The leader I chose to compare Amy Waldrop to was Bernard Tyson, who is a former CEO of Kaiser Permanente. Bernard unfortunately passed away at the age of 60 in 2019, but he was very well respected for what he did in the healthcare industry. So some similarities between Amy and Bernard are that they both emphasized servant leadership and transformational leadership, and they both focused on innovation in healthcare, and they both prioritized patient-centered care and staff empowerment. Some differences would be that Tyson led a healthcare system with a large-scale initiative, and he was a CEO, obviously, so he oversaw a lot more departments and a lot more people, versus Amy was just in charge of the respiratory department, and she just had a focus on direct patient care with just her team management. From my interview with Amy, I learned that there are three main characteristics that really make a difference in successful leadership, and that was to embrace transformational leadership, to maintain strong communications, and to try to involve your staff as much as possible, because if the staff's involved and the staff knows what's going on and feels cared for and respected, then that respect comes back around and you get a lot more done, and the employees will work harder when they feel seen, and you just accomplish more in the hospital. So Amy emphasized these three characteristics the most when I asked her what led to her success as a leader. So as mentioned earlier, I chose to interview Amy because she's my mom and easy to interview primarily, but beyond that, she also has a lot of leadership experience, and she faced real life challenges in her role in the respiratory department. So this gave me lots of inspiration, and I selected Bernard because he was a well-respected CEO and helped lots of people with Kaiser Permanente. And from this, I'd say I learned that not everything's going to go your way as a leader, not everything's going to go according to the plan, but the great leaders are the ones who can just tough it out and adapt quickly to what's being thrown at them. So that is my presentation. Thank you.